This is the COSTWAY 24000BTU mini-split air conditioner and heater, part of the Blast series. The first thing you'll notice about this unit is how sleek and compact it looks, especially for something that can take care of such a large space. It's bright white, fits up nicely against the wall, and gives off a pretty modern vibe that blends in well with most rooms I've tried it in. The controls are simple, and you get a remote that's straightforward. Nothing intimidating for newcomers to mini-split systems. When I first considered installing a mini-split AHRI like this, I'll be honest, I had my doubts about how complicated it would be. If you're like me and this is your first time dealing with a system that combines both air conditioning and a heat pump, you might be a little intimidated by all those parts. Copper pipes, drain hose, communication wires. But I found that COSTWAY included almost everything I needed right in the box. There's a power line, copper pipes for connecting things, a drain hose, and even a wall sleeve. I only had to pick up a few extra tools and materials along the way. From my experience, the installation is mostly doable if you're handy, but there are some steps where I'd really recommend getting some professional help, especially when it comes to evacuating the lines and checking for leaks. You need a vacuum pump to make sure all the air and moisture is out of the system before you open up the pre-charged refrigerant. If you skip this step, you could cause problems with how the unit runs later on. So, while the kit makes it as easy as possible, I still leaned on a pro for a couple of steps, and I think most homeowners would want to at least talk to someone with some HVAC experience. Once it's up on the wall and you run the lines through, the real difference comes on fast. The COSTWAY Blast series cools the room down surprisingly quickly. It's rated at 24,000 BTU, so you know it's going to handle bigger rooms without trouble. It's perfect for spaces up to 1,500 square feet, which means it worked great in my main living area that tends to get pretty stuffy in the afternoon. The temperature drops fast, which is what I really wanted in the first place. What surprised me the most was just how quietly the thing runs. With some air conditioners, you always hear this constant drone, but with the COSTWAY, I can barely tell it's on unless I'm standing right next to it. Even at night, when everything's quiet, it doesn't disturb sleep at all, which is a big win if you need some peace and quiet. The noise level is around 50 decibels, which is quieter than my old window unit and even beats most ceiling fans. The key features that stand out to me include the inverter compressor. If anything sounds a bit technical, here's what it means. Instead of turning the compressor on and off constantly, it just ramps up or down depending on the temperature you want. This makes the whole system way more efficient, uses less power, and keeps the room temperature stable instead of bouncing around. Adding to that, you get both heating and cooling from the same box, which instantly makes it more useful all year. So those sweltering summers and chilly winter mornings are both covered. There are modes like Eco, which helps save energy, and a turbo setting if you want to just cool things down super fast. I also tried out the iFEEL mode, which basically reads the temperature close to where the remote is and adjusts accordingly. Instead of relying on just what the unit senses near the ceiling, little touches like that make a huge difference for comfort. In my case, the unit handles humidity really well too. There's a dehumidifier function that helps cut down on that sticky feeling in summer, and it does filter dust, though I'd recommend cleaning the filter regularly for best performance. Maintenance is easy. Popping the cover open and washing out the filter didn't take much effort at all. From my experience using this over several weeks now, I've been seriously impressed by how efficient it is. I keep an eye on my electric bills and noticed a drop compared to running both an old AHRI unit and space heater. You get about 18.5 SEER2 energy efficiency, which means it's using a lot less electricity per amount of cooling or heating compared to older models. If you care about energy savings, this is a big benefit. The blower also pushes cooled or heated air evenly throughout the room. No odd hot or cold spots. Another thing I thought about before buying was the build quality. Honestly, there are some mixed stories online, and my take is this. The unit itself feels sturdy, and the materials seem decent. The indoor wall unit is mostly solid plastic but well put together, while the outdoor part has a nice metal shell. There are a few parts, like the control panel cover, that feel a bit lightweight, but I haven't had any real issues so far. Some people have run into minor damage or issues with shipping, so I'd say check your package right when it arrives. When it comes to support, my personal experience hasn't been too bad. But I know some folks have mentioned slow customer service, especially with installation questions or delivery delays. As a tip, take some extra time to read the manual before setting things up. and don't hesitate to ask questions if you're unsure about something. Sometimes that can save a lot of headaches. In terms of style, I'd say the COSTWAY doesn't make a big fuss. It sits on the wall, slim and neat, with most of the pipes hidden out of sight. It doesn't overwhelm the room or stick out compared to clunky window units or bulky floor racks. The remote is lightweight and feels good in hand, with basic buttons for all the important functions. I'd recommend this for anyone who has a decent-sized space that needs reliable cooling and heating, but who doesn't want to go through major renovations or pay through the nose for a built-in vac system. If you have a workshop, basement, big bedroom, or even a small apartment that needs its own climate control, this is a strong choice. You'll get the benefit of a split system, which just means the chunky, noisy compressor unit stays outside, while the quiet air handler does its job indoors. If you're a homeowner and you're fairly comfortable with tools and following instructions, you can handle a lot of the install yourself, but definitely don't skip the evacuation step if you want it to last. A couple of things to keep in mind. The voltage is 208, 230 volts, so you'll need to make sure your house wiring matches up. If you only have standard 110 volts outlets, this might not be the right unit for you. Also, even though it says it's mini split and they give you most installation parts, sometimes the pipes or wires might not be long enough for really big rooms, or if your outdoor unit needs to be far away from the wall mount. In conclusion, for the price and what you get, COSTWAY's Blast Series 24000 BTU mini split really delivers on cooling and heating power, with tons of extra features aimed at keeping your space comfy and energy efficient. I love that it's quiet, quick to react, and potentially saves on bills. I had a few concerns about installation, but I think if you're prepared or get a helping hand, the process is straightforward. I've been pretty happy with how it's worked out in daily use. If you're considering making the jump to a ductless mini split, I honestly think this is a great way to start. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the COSTWAY 24000 BTU mini split air conditioner and heater. Thank you for watching.